Okay, folks, here we go. I'm so glad for this headset. Um, it actually helps my hearing just a little bit. Look, I'm recording this kind of as an emergency broadcast. I can't believe I'm making a video supporting a psychiatric medication, hawking one of their pills. But I have to do that because this stuff is treatment. And there are times when you have to have treatment. And if you have someone who is episodically violent, assaultive, there's one medicine that actually treats that and does a pretty good job of it. The problem is, once you start taking it, you don't want to quit taking it because the withdrawal effects are assaults, assaultive behavior, battery. It's pretty bad. But I'm going to tell you right now that one of the modern miracles, I don't know what to say. It's so weird to support their stuff. I don't like their craft. I don't like their bullshit. But I've got a dear one to me, and he's got a dear one to him. And he told me, but he didn't really tell me, but I finally found out that what's going on is pretty bad. So there is kind of a miracle drug to deal with schizophrenias, a type of schizophrenia, I should say, since they don't know their ass from a hole of ground and understand schizophrenia very well, and they can't treat it very well. But when we have somebody that is really kind of assaultive and violent and rageful, there is a medicine that seems to take care of it. I say seems to because it's hard for me to believe that it does it. And I know this. It operates on principles of toxicity and disabling. Okay? But in this case, we want to disable assaultive behavior. We want to disable murderous rages and stuff. Isn't that horrible? That people suffer because they've been damaged so much? The young man I'm thinking of right now is not such a young man. And he has been through so much medically that they have caused this to him. They have damaged him. Seroquel. Seroquel. Don't ask me what the chemical name is. I just read it the other day, and I put it in the other video. I put a warning on Seroquel. The biggest warning on Seroquel is this. You don't want to play with it. You don't want to go on and off of it. You want to keep a steady state. Why? Because when a person's on Seroquel, it sits on the violence pretty good. It stops them from being explosive. It stops them from assaulting other people, from being uncontrollable. It does something to them that helps the rest of us. And so if you've got somebody who's got a diagnosis of schizophrenia, let's face it, we don't know what we're dealing with in many ways. Schizophrenia, in case you're wondering, is a German word meaning split diaphragm. That's where it comes from. How is it caused? I've got a book by a fellow in Seattle area called How to Become a Schizophrenic. I bought 3 copies of it, I think, 2 or 3. One of them I studied and marked up in dog-eared and marked up, and the other one is pristine. And the other copy, I don't know what I did with it. But those books are on my shelf for a good reason. This fellow explained the 3 ways of becoming schizophrenic. I think he was right. He also gave me enough tips in the book that I figured out how to treat it and how to work with it. And I went to a seminar down in New Orleans, and I got to meet one of the greats, Tim Beck, Baron Aaron T. Beck, one of the great gods in psychology who developed, psychology and said, well, we can't use cognitive behavioral psychology on schizophrenics because it's not effective. Look, I met him. It was his 80th something or other birthday. There was a big party for it. And we're in the middle of the room full of people, and I'm half lit. We're drinking adult beverages. Those are provided. It's one of those parties. And they had an institute. His daughter was there, and they had an institute, and they would train psychologists. And I was thinking about enrolling in the training, and my supervisor said I wouldn't recommend it because they all seem to turn out the same, and they're kind of limited. They're not liking the reflection I'm getting off the screen. I hope it's not showing up on your end, but it's really bothersome here. But it's full sunlight right now, and of course I put on my new white robe. Why not? Got to make an impression, you know. Yeah. Look, Seroquel is not something that you can start and stop again at will. And you don't want to play with it. You want to take it when you feel like taking it, because you are not a good judge on some of these things. Sometimes you need somebody else there, another set of eyes and ears on you to help you out with these things. But I'm going to tell you that the withdrawal effects are just flat out dangerous to Seroquel. As I said before, I had one man, the first man I treated on Seroquel. I don't give it to them. I don't start them on those damn drugs. But he was on Seroquel, and the pharmacist made a mistake and gave him another medication. And I don't remember the name of the medication, but it began with the letter S. So the pharmacist made a mistake, an honest mistake. And the guy starts going through, I'll call them withdrawals, but the next thing I know, Phyllis, I loved Phyllis. She was at the group home, and Phyllis she always joked with me and teased me, and I liked Phyllis a lot. Let me put it this way. She shows up in my office and she needs something done. I'm going to do it for her. And she shows up, and the guy I'm seeing in therapy, her ward of the state, if you will, her resident at the house is getting violent. He's a big dude. He's a big, thick-chested, muscly dude. He's a little on the scary side. He's actually a pussycat, but only I know that. If you look at him, you're going to go, holy shit, man, this guy could do some damage. But yeah, I'm not dumb. I'm not going to get him mad at me. You know, I'm a small guy. I'm a little guy. Compared to him, I'm tiny. And he's much younger, too. So we found out about Seroquel and the withdrawal kind of the hard way. In less than a year, and by the way, Phyllis was on top of things. She really did her job well. Phyllis actually figured it out. They made the mistake. She caught the mistake. And so we got him back on the right medicine, and he was great. He was good. He was having the good life. Everybody was enjoying him. He was enjoying himself. He was working. He had a girlfriend. He was doing better than most people do today, I think. I hope he's doing well today. And Phyllis, less than a year later, is back in my office. This time she doesn't need my help. She's got it under control. She's got it sussed, man. She's figured it all out. She says, John, I just want to let you know, the pharmacist did it again. Gave us the wrong medicine. Whoa, man. So what do I tell you? Do as I'm starting to do. When you get a medicine and you don't recognize it, look at the pills and go check it out and make sure it's the right stuff. And if you're not sure, call the pharmacy up. I had to do that with a blood pressure medicine recently because it was a different kind of pill. It turned out it was okay, but, I want to make sure myself. Mistakes happen. Seroquel. It's not a PRN, take as you feel like you need it. It is a steady state kind of a medicine. And you want to keep it at the lowest possible dosage. Well, for one, it's pretty damn expensive, and the bigger the dosage, the more it costs. This is expensive stuff. I'm going to take a guess, $400 or $500, maybe $900 a month for all I know. I don't know. I never have looked at the price. And there is a 7-year patent period that's renewable one time. So for 14 years, the people who patent this medicine, I wanted to say poison, but the people who patent this stuff get 14 years rights to it. Nobody else can do it. It's exclusive. And those people who make similar drugs don't make them quite right. They're allowed to have a variance of 20% leeway on this, plus or minus 20%. One of the medicines, drugs that I don't take the generics because it's a plus or minus 20%. And if I go from a minus 20% dose to a 20% overdose, it affects me. It affects me in a profound way. And I get to diagnose myself, baby, and take care of it. But I make them give me the name brand. I spend the extra money on the name brand. In case you're wondering, there's a little country in South America that's got better medical treatment than we have up here. It's called Ecuador. It's called Ecuador because it's on the equator, the border of the equator. It's on the freaking equator. In Ecuador, if the doctor writes for the prescriptive medicine, you get it. Because it's illegal against the law down there for them to substitute with a cheap ass, maybe works, maybe doesn't work, generic. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be everywhere. These things are too powerful, too particular. They shouldn't, we should be able to have better care. They mark it up so much anyway. There's plenty of room for them. They could cut the price down to 1/10 of what it is and still be making a whopping profit off it. Lorraine, down, lay down. She's been in the kettle too much. I had to take myself a nap. She woke me up in the middle of the morning, went for a walk, and she ran quite a bit. We did a nice breakfast. I did all kinds of stuff, and then I also did my video this morning, and I watched it. It takes a lot of time. So I've actually done my job for the day, and she's there. She's doing really good. She's actually taken real good care of me. She's tuned into me so well that the things that I see in this training program for her taking care of me, she's already doing that stuff. It's a natural thing. So as far as training her to do it, it's not hard. But she lets me know when I'm getting too excited, I'll put it that way. She lets me know when I'm stressing a little too much. Yeah, she's tuned into me. Yes, what a good girl. The kennel door is open. It's kind of blocking her. She wants to get over at me right now, so I will move the kennel door. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh, I'll pet you. Slow down. She's so powerful, so strong. Hey, gentle, okay. Kennel, down. She has an on switch, and the off switch is kind of hard to find. I can do it, but it takes some time, and my attention right now is on you out there. So I'm going to tell you, if you have somebody who has lost their gourd pretty badly, and they're going through episodic rages and violence, Seroquel is an option. I don't advocate for these drugs. I sure as hell don't make anything off those at all, and I don't want anything from those people. But go see a psychiatrist. Don't go to a medical doctor. You need to go to somebody that specializes in this stuff. And please don't get me wrong. Most of them, okay, Chuck, I just got a call. I've lost a dear one, and I know it. Anyway, I didn't take it, but I'm going to call him back. There's only one reason why he'd be calling me. Yeah, Chuck, I know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope my guess is wrong. Seroquel, steady state. It's an expensive medicine. You don't want them missing dosages. I don't understand the medicine well enough to advise you how to take it, how not to take it, or any of that stuff. But I will say this, it's a last-ditch effort, and it seems to help with taming assaultive behaviors. There's a price to be paid on all of these medicines. there's no such thing as a free lunch. So go do your own research on this stuff. Talk with the physician, with a psychiatrist. Don't work with anybody at a lesser level. Work with the psychiatrist, not with the psychiatric nurse. Don't work with a nurse practitioner. Work with a psychiatrist on this one, because it's pretty serious stuff. And you want to make sure to go to somebody that's got a good reputation. So Seroquel can be helpful. And in this case, I've already let my buddy know this is one of the things you can turn to. But we have a non-compliant individual who won't. I might have to. Hell, if I'd have known he had this much kind of trouble, I would have insisted on visiting him this summer. But I couldn't. I didn't have the money. Didn't have the money for the diesel to run up there. And he forgot about the deal that we had made. Otherwise, I would have had enough money and I would have made the trip up there. And maybe I could have stopped this one. I know this young fellow. I hate to see the people that I know, love, and care for suffer. May Yahweh bless.